There is a quiet moment that arrives for many people, not suddenly, not dramatically, but gradually, almost unnoticed. It's the moment when effort begins to feel heavy. Not effort in the physical sense, but the effort of managing yourself. The effort of trying to feel okay. The effort of monitoring your thoughts, correcting your emotions, fixing what feels wrong inside. You may notice that the old strategies no longer work the way they once did. Distraction doesn't distract. Motivation doesn't motivate. Advice doesn't land the way it used to. And beneath all of it, there's a persistent sense of tension, as if you're always bracing for something, even when nothing is happening. This is often where anxiety lives, not always as panic, not always as fear, but as a subtle pressure, a background hum, a feeling that something needs to change before you can finally rest. And most people respond to this by trying harder, trying to think differently, trying to feel calmer, trying to get rid of anxiety altogether. But what if anxiety isn't something that needs to be defeated? What if it's something that changes naturally when your relationship to it changes? To understand this, we need to look at how anxiety actually functions. Anxiety is not just an emotion, it's a pattern of attention. It's what happens when awareness becomes tightly focused on threat, uncertainty, or control. The mind scans constantly, looking for what might go wrong, what needs to be fixed, what must be avoided. And the body responds accordingly. Muscles tighten, breathing becomes shallow, the nervous system stays on high alert. Even in moments of stillness, there's a sense of readiness, like you're waiting for an alarm that never quite goes off. What makes anxiety so exhausting isn't just the sensation itself, it's the belief that it shouldn't be happening, that it means something is wrong with you, that you need to escape it before you can live your life. But here is something rarely pointed out. Anxiety requires identification. It requires you to believe that every anxious thought is important, every sensation is dangerous, every feeling demands immediate action. The moment you fully believe anxiety's story, it becomes overwhelming. But when you notice anxiety instead of becoming it, something shifts. Right now, take a moment to notice what's happening in your inner experience. Maybe there's tension. Maybe there's restlessness. Maybe there's nothing particularly strong at all. Whatever is here, notice that you are aware of it. That awareness is not anxious. Thoughts appear within it. Sensations move through it. Emotions rise and fall inside it. But awareness itself remains steady, unchanged by what it observes. This is the beginning of the inner observer. The inner observer is not something mystical. It's not something you have to create or cultivate. It's simply the part of you that notices experience without immediately reacting to it. You've used it before, even if you didn't call it that. When you suddenly realize you've been lost in thought, when you notice your breath without trying to control it, when you catch yourself reacting and pause, that pause is awareness remembering itself. Anxiety weakens in the presence of this remembering, not because you push it away, but because you stop feeding it with resistance. You see, anxiety thrives on friction. It grows stronger when you argue with it, when you label it as a problem, when you demand that it leave before you can feel safe. It grows stronger when you argue with it, when you label it as a problem, when you demand that it leave before you can feel safe. But when anxiety is met with observation rather than opposition, it begins to change shape. Not immediately, not magically, but organically. Imagine holding your hand in a tight fist for a long time. At first, the tension feels purposeful, even necessary. But eventually, the hand begins to ache. And when you finally open it, There's no dramatic release, just a gradual return to ease. This is how the nervous system works when it feels allowed instead of controlled. The inner observer does not try to calm the body. It simply allows the body to be exactly as it is. And in that allowance, the body remembers how to settle. This can feel counterintuitive. We're taught that peace is something we must achieve, that calm comes from effort, that control equals safety. But peace is not a state you arrive at. It's what remains when unnecessary effort falls away. When you stop trying to force your experience into a preferred shape, you may notice something subtle but profound. Life continues to unfold just fine without your constant intervention. Breathing happens. Sounds come and go. Sensations rise and pass. You don't have to manage these things. You never did. Anxiety often convinces us that vigilance is required for survival, that if we relax our grip, something terrible will happen. But when awareness steps back and simply watches, we discover that much of this vigilance was never needed in the first place. This doesn't mean difficult emotions disappear forever. It means they are no longer personal. They become events instead of identities. Fear may arise, but it is seen. Tension may appear, but it is felt without panic. Uncertainty may linger, but it no longer defines you. From this perspective, life becomes quieter, not externally, but internally. There's less commentary, less judgment, less pressure to perform your own existence correctly. And in that quiet, a different kind of well-being emerges. Not excitement, not constant happiness, but a steady sense of okayness, a recognition that in this moment, nothing essential is missing. This okayness doesn't depend on circumstances. It doesn't disappear when things are uncomfortable. It doesn't require life to make sense. It's the feeling of being at home in your own presence. Many people overlook this because it doesn't feel dramatic. It doesn't announce itself with intensity. The mind often dismisses it as boring or insignificant. But this simplicity is its strength. Excitement is unstable, relief is temporary, control is exhausting. Okayness is sustainable. From here, you begin to live differently. You still take action when action is needed. You still respond to challenges. You still feel joy, sadness, curiosity, and care. But these experiences move through a larger space, one that doesn't collapse around them. You're no longer trying to extract meaning from every moment or protect yourself from every feeling. You're present, and presence changes everything. Not by improving life, but by revealing it. So if anxiety has been part of your experience, consider this an invitation not to fight it, but to meet it differently. To notice it rather than identify with it. To allow awareness to do what it already knows how to do. Nothing needs to be forced. Nothing needs to be fixed. Nothing needs to be achieved. You are already here, already aware, already whole. And from this place, anxiety no longer feels like an enemy. It becomes just another movement in the vast, steady field of being you already are. You only have to stop turning your inner life into a battlefield. From this place, a quieter form of well-being begins to emerge. It's not excitement, it's not constant happiness. It's a grounded sense of okayness, a feeling that nothing essential is wrong, even when life is imperfect. This is not resignation, it's clarity. You begin to see that your worth was never dependent on how calm you feel, how productive you are, or how well you manage your emotions. You were never broken. You were just over-engaged with the mind's commentary. As awareness becomes familiar, anxiety changes. Sometimes it softens. Sometimes it comes and goes, but it no longer defines you. It becomes weather, not identity. And from here, life opens in a different way. Moments become simpler. Attention becomes steadier. Presence becomes enough. Not because everything feels good, but because you're no longer demanding that it should. This is what it means to embrace the inner observer, not to escape your experience, but to meet it without fear. Not to rise above life, but to stand firmly within it. Nothing needs to be forced. Nothing needs to be achieved. You are already here, aware, present, and more whole than you were ever taught to believe.